back to the channel. This one, Sabrina 1 Ionic colourway, debut model, very highly anticipated model, and it kind of disappoints, if I'm honest. Not hugely, a lot of good points, however there is one or two things that kind of, for me, I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to get many colourways of these. However, still a good shoe, and we'll just go through it and I'll explain what it is I've got some sort of reservations with. Alright, so first up, traction. Really nice traction pattern, kind of wavy, kind of herringbone in parts, particularly towards the heel, and this stripe that runs down the middle. Segmented in a nice way, nice pattern, but overall very, very decent traction, shall we say. Give an okay bite. However, Nike's notorious for any translucent outsoles can tend to pick up a little bit of dust, so we'll see how that one goes in regards to any sort of playing time. Nice, this one, the Ionic colourway. I think the idea behind this is the Ionic being the pearlescent kind of effect on the outsole. It's kind of ionized, kind of ionic. I think that could be where it's coming from. I'm not entirely sure of the name. But overall, very pleased. The one thing that's very striking about the outsole is this outrigger. The shoe overall, the contour lines, the silhouette, very reminiscent of the Kobe 5. The Kobe 5 does have a very aggressive outrigger. I'll show you here. So you can see from that one there, very prominent, and this one is pretty much the same. So the shoe itself does feel very stable on that element when it comes to coming to a stop. There's no way you're rolling your ankle, which is definitely a plus point. However, as we move up into the tooling aspect, that's where things start to get a wee bit iffy. Now, this has got full length React foam and a top loaded zoom unit. React is a very nice cushion setup. However, I do have the PG6s, and I find that after wearing for a while, they do tend to bottom out a wee bit. This may or may not bottom out over time. The reason being there's a zoom unit in there as well, because I tend to find that the React foam's bottoming out on the forefoot, so that zoom unit is definitely going to help that. So that's definitely one of the concerns I've got, and I don't know where I stand with it, but the cushion does feel very nice. In terms of longevity, I'm not so sure. We'll see how that one goes. The midsole, like I say, full length React, very plush on feet, some really nice details in the medial side, some sort of aperture here, and it says anyone, anywhere on the aperture. And then on the back of it, coming up from the midsole, we've got this kind of vertical swoosh, which is actually helping with the heel counter. Now, the heel counter, so before I get to the size, now I was talking about it now because I'm going to mention it. I actually originally ordered true to size, which is a UK 8. It felt very long. Had a large amount of space at the front of the shoe, but everything else felt great. My other concern, which leads into the sizing, was torsional support, because in this shoe there's a lot of movement there. That's a bit of a concern. Now, if there's a shank in there of some sort, it's not the best, because if I take the Kobe 5 for example, you can feel that there's a shank there giving some sort of support, but with this it doesn't feel like there's one there at all. So when it came to the sizing aspect, I thought if I go down half a size it'll correct the length issue. However, with these materials it might cause an issue with the width. The half size down arrived, which is these ones. It feels relatively tight. There's literally no movement from my foot inside. These materials are, I want to say, relatively thick, because it feels like, check this, there is a sock liner in there of some sort. Yeah, there's a sock, the tongue's attached here, there's a sock liner in there, and then the materials themselves are relatively thick. So breathability might be an issue because the PG6 was the same with the materials. It felt like your foot was in an oven. These feel relatively thick. There is embroidery on top there, which I'll get to, but the width, it's okay. However, my concern is getting up and down a court, moving, your feet's going to swell, which means then it's going to feel extremely tight, no breathability. It could be an issue after a certain amount of time. The other thing I found with going down half a size, the heel counter right away felt way smaller and constricting than the UK 8. That's something that's a problem. You want to be comfortable in your shoe, but it didn't feel great. I understand that this area here might actually break in over time, but there's not much you can do with the heel counter. It's kind of fixed. The padding around the heel counter is adequate. It feels nice. Even the tongue, nice materials being used. Another similarity with the Kobe 5 is the tongue logo. How they've used this material to give a 3D effect of the S for Sabrina, very similar to what the Kobe logo is. So that was a nice touch. The materials they've used, they've got the fly wire running right down to the sole, the footbed. Again, stitching reinforcement along the lace loops, very nice touch, which leads into the embroidery, which was chosen by Sabrina as a nod to her Romanian heritage. So very nice detailing on this shoe, and I feel that it's got a lot of potential, but I need stability in my right foot because I have a plate screws in there, and I'm not sure that this is a shoe I'm going to be buying a lot of pairs of. I have actually ordered a ID pair, Nike by You, as it's now called. I used to work for Nike. I was the ID specialist many years ago, and when I worked there, it was one of the things that it was a very enjoyable process putting your own shoe together, and they'd done away with it for a while. I'm not entirely sure why, but if you've not tried it already, go on Nike.com, have a little play around with the Nike by You with the Sabrina 1. It's actually really nice. So I've actually, like I say, I've made my own Sabrina 1, except I made it in a UK 8 thinking that it was going to be okay. Schoolboy error, man. I should have got the 7.5 as well. So I'm thinking I'm going to have to make a second pair. When they arrive, I'll probably do another video on them. But overall, I like this shoe. It's been a shoe that's I've been highly anticipated in my book, and I'm not let down by it. I'm just not as pleased with it as what when I first saw it, read the tooling spec, etc. But I think visually it's a fantastic looking shoe. There is some more colourways that have been announced. There are not any dates that release, I don't think, but the details in the shoe are very nice. Again, very similar to the Kobe 5. You could say it's kind of similar to some of the other Kobe models, but for me, I really like what they've done here. You know, there's this seam. It's almost like not symmetry as such because it's not symmetrical, but they've got this line running up the middle of the shoe, which again helps with the lockdown. And then on the underside, that line runs right through, and then at the back we have the I for Ionescu, which is you see that, I can't help but think of The Incredibles. But it's still a fantastic shoe in my book, the way it looks visually. However, on feet, that sizing, man, it's kind of similar to the experience you get with some of the Yeezys, the slides, and the foam runners where you need to drop or go down, or even the Crocs Silky Bembury, which is another video I'm planning to do at some point. So stay tuned for that. So if you've not done so already, please subscribe, because I'll be uploading more videos as soon as I can. But this shoe has layers that are, when you go on the Nike by You, you really unlock that. And I think this embroidery pattern is beautiful. I think the attention to detail on this shoe is fantastic. But I just feel as if they've missed a trick The other thing about it is it's really difficult. It's almost like they're kind of going, and not a new direction as such, but they're kind of combining various shoes. Like this outsole's got the traction going riding up the medial side, so obviously if you're going to rock on your foot, you've got traction there. But at the same time, it's completely flat, so then it feels like you're very flat-footed. Whereas with the Kobe 5, there is an element of like a sort of a rock that leads you into your step, whereas with the Sabrina, it's just like non-existent, you know. So it's a wee bit disappointing in that regard. I think it's a shoe you need to try on. I definitely feel that it's a shoe you need to just order maybe your size, maybe half a size down, and play around to see how it feels, because you could clearly see that Kobe himself was an inspiration to Sabrina, we all know that, but I think Kobe's line of shoes was a clear inspiration for her own signature model. I think this is a shoe, I'm not going to keep this model, I'm going to return this one because I feel there's another couple of colourways coming out that would I think look a little more visually appealing in terms of the colour schemes. Sizing's limited. It's although it's been branded as being a unisex shoe, I think the Nike site only had up to UK 9.5, and when I went to buy the size 8 originally, the 9.5, the 9 and the 8.5 were just not available. So whether they'd sold out very quickly or they just never had them in the first place, I'm not entirely sure. It could have been a limited size run. But again, nice detail on the shoe. I think the cushion setup is nice, very plush feeling, however longevity is in question. The lack of some sort of shank for torsional twist is a concern. A lot of movement there, and it feels very flat-footed. So the heel counter, again, another bit of an issue, but visually it looks fantastic. The cushion feels nice on foot, lockdown feels good. I think it's got a lot of potential, but definitely a shoe you need to try on. Thanks so much for watching. Again, if you've not subscribed, please subscribe, and like the video if you like it. If you get any comments you want to make about this shoe or any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks again.